Welcome back. I am your host, Susanna May O'Hagan, and today we are going to talk about Final Destinations. That would be number, I believe it is number 4. So it's technically Final Destination 4, but it's called Final Destinations. The Final Destinations is a 2009 American 3D supernatural horror film. College student Nick O'Brien watches an auto race with his girlfriend Laura and their friends Hunt and Jeanette at the McKinley Speedway for their semester break. Nick has a premonition of a racetrack accident where the debris flies into the grandstand and destroys it. The disaster kills him, his friends, and several spectators. He panics, causing a fight that forces him and his friends to leave, along with tow truck driver Carter, mother Samantha, mechanic Annie, and his girlfriend Navi. Security guard George. The disaster occurs, causing a stray wheel to fly out of the stadium and decapitate NADIV. The following night, while attempting to burn a cross on George's lawn, Carter is dragged by the towing chain of his tow truck and is burned alive, caused by the friction of the chain igniting a gas leak. The next day, Samantha is killed by a rock lodged in the exhaust pipe of a lawnmower. After researching similar disasters parallel to the Speedway, Nick is convinced that ever since they survived, thanks to his premonition, death is killing them in the order they would have died in the Speedway disaster. With George permission, Nick and Laura review surveillance footage of the disaster to identify the next victim. Seeing that Andy is next, they warn him, but a carbon dioxide tank suddenly launches him into a metal grade fence. Nick suspects Jeanette and Hunt are next and team up with George and Laura to save them. George and Laura save Jeanette from being killed at a car wash, but Nick fails to save Hunt from being disemboweled by a pool drain pipe. George surrenders to death and tries the same thing that happened before, but death sabotages his attempt. Nick learns that another survivor, Jonathan, was recently recovered from the sorry about that from the rubble. Wait, okay. But remembers him dying in his premonition. Nick and George rush to save Jonathan. Also concluded that George was unable to, since it was not yet his turn. At the hospital, they fail to stop Jonathan from being fatally crushed by an overflow bathtub from the floor above. They exit where a speeding ambulance van kills George. Nick suspects Laura and Jeanette are in danger and rushes to the shopping mall movie theater. Laura also senses omens, but fails to convince Jeanette to leave. Jeanette is killed by projections that are launched from the screen after the room behind the screen explodes. The explosion infiltrates the mall, and when Laura and Nick try to leave, Laura is stuck into the gears of an escalator. Nick reveals that everything about Jonathan's death was a premonition. He fails to save George, but succeeds in preventing the mall explosion. 2 weeks later, Nick, Laura, and Jeanette reunite at a cafe. Nick suspects that they never changed anything, and that Death planned to have them meet at the cafe at the right time. Before the three can react, a truck swerves to avoid a falling scaffold and crashes into the cafe, killing them. After the success of Final Destination 3, which was initially planned to be in 3D, yeah, I didn't like the 3D part at all. It was bad. Just no. Horror movies in 3D are just weird to me. It makes it look kind of corny, which impressed producers Craig and Warren enough to greenlit a fourth Final Destination installment. James Wan was on board to direct, but because of scheduling conflicts with Dragon Ball Evolution, he decided to drop out. The studio opted for David R. to return because of his work on Final Destination 2. He accepted because of the 3D. For the 3D, Perry said that he wanted to add depth to the film instead of just something pop out at an audience for a minute for every 4 minutes. Sorry, my throat's starting to hurt. Although shooting was to be done in Vancouver, which is where the previous 3 films were shot, David convinced the producers to shoot in New Orleans instead to bring business to the city, and because the budget was already large. The opening crash sequence at McKinney Speedway was filmed at Mobile International Speedway in Alabama. Filming began in March 2008 and ended in late May in the same year. Reshots were done in April 2009 at Universal Studios Florida. According to US Today and News, the Final Destination debut at the top of the North America's box office, beating Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, earning $28.3 million during its first week. It has also topped the box office in the UK. The film remained at number 1 in North America for 2 weeks, making it the first film in the series to top the box office. On September 11, 2009, it gained just over $1 million and dropped to number 7. The film grossed 66 point, wow, hang on. The 6s look like 9s to me. And the 9s are, okay, focus, I can do this. Okay, 6.5 million. And 120.9 in foreign sales with a total of 118. So let's see, we could do some more facts from the other movies. After test audience didn't like the ending, it was reshot with prediction only ending 10 days before the movie was set to premiere. While not appearing in person, Tony Todd lent his voice as the Devil Attraction roller coaster and the voice on the subway warning that it is the end of the line. Oh, I love that one. Actress Ashley, one of the tanning bed victims, made her TV debut way back in 1990 as a little girl who Pennywise takes in the opening scene of it. No way! Wow, I didn't know that. Final Destination 3 was the first of the series to be potentially shot for 3D. The film DVD release included a unique feature where viewers could choose their own adventure, which featured alternate scenes and deaths. While the movie itself garnered mixed to bad reviews, many critics praised Winston Head's character Wendy for being a strong female protagonist who wasn't reluctant to stereotype and wasn't very human and believable. It was very human and believable. Final Destination 3 remained the only movie in the franchise with a commercial release soundtrack. Nominated for Best Horror Film at the Saturn Awards in 2007, but lost to The Descent. Okay. Final Destination 2 grossed $90 million at the worldwide box office against a budget of $26. It remains the lowest grossing film in the franchise, but still made a healthy profit, more than tripling the budget. Many fans have cited this movie as their favorite in the series, and the car crash scene as one of the most iconic and memorable sequences in horror movie history. I remember to this day. Okay. Many characters in the early installment are named after famous horror movies. Throughout the franchise, Final Destination films have paid homage to several decades worth of horror directors, producers, and actors. In the first installment, Devin Alex Boland, whose premonition of a disaster sets the plot in motion, is named after Todd Bowie, who directed Universal's Dracula and MGM's Band Freaks. Kristen Clark's character, the ill-fated teacher, Valorline Luton, is an even less subtle reference to Val, the producer behind 1942's Cat People, and the following year, I Walked with a Zombie. Amanda Terry is a nod to actors Lon and Lon Chaner and Jr., while Chad Donald's Todd's name checks both the aforementioned Todd and the Wolfman director George. Shane Williams Scott's character Billy is obviously enough. Other character names pay tribute to director W.F. and his star Max. Final Destination 2 opening disaster has been called the scene that traumatized the generation. It really did. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed, and next we're going to be talking about Final Destination. No. Okay. Here it is. Wait, no. Okay. 5. Final Destination 5. Which I actually really like. Which is kind of funny. Because it is way different than... there's an ending here that just really is cool. Okay, I hope y'all enjoyed, and like and subscribe and ring a bell if I have one. Hope you have a great, wonderful day. Bye for now.